So why upgrade now? And what I'm going to try and do is kind of set the scene on what we're seeing in the industry and what we've seen in the industry over the last few years in terms of technology, and also what we've seen in terms of customers that we're working with in their businesses as well. So we'll hopefully kind of set the scene, and then that will lead on to kind of the products that we're designing and deploying now for our customers. So most of this, what you're going to see here, nothing new. Most of you will know all of this already. But around kind of 2004-ish, and take these dates all with a bit of a pinch of salt, guys. It's kind of quite hard to pin certain things down on here. So, but around 2004, IP telephony kind of came on the scene. Most customers have now migrated across to telephony. They've moved away from analog or digital, and they're on IP. A few customers still out there, for whatever reason it may be, have not moved across. But certainly over the last kind of 10, 12 years, most people have made that change. 2006, social media kind of hit the scene. A lot of organisations now taking that to promote and advertise their organisations. There's quite good stories out there of how some of the large organisations have taken advantage of that. One that springs to mind is there was a famous pop star who was having a battle with British Telecom, getting her broadband sorted out, and took to Twitter to rant about them, and lo and behold, an open reach engineer turned up the next day and fixed it for her. So
it's got to be a record for an open reach engineer.
You must be. But yeah, Twitter, LinkedIn, various things in there, and that's a huge subject in itself. 2007, smartphone came out. Apple paving the way with that. iOS, Android, Windows are all out there now. Multiple devices. What device do you go for? Do you allow them out? Do you allow corporate devices? What do you let them do? Do you let your staff bring their own devices? What do you let them access? So again, can be a little bit of a minefield. Virtualization, been around for years, but kind of 2008 is where we saw it kind of take off. And what we've noticed in the industry, telephony is probably one of the last things that gets virtualized. Most of the time it's still sat there on an appliance, ticking away, doing its job. Iron presence up the top there, not much to say about that other than it's not just on a laptop now, it's on a smartphone, it's on a tablet, it's on any device you can. SIP, kind of 2009, SIP started taking off. Again, been around years, but started taking off around there. Britannica got a great story on SIP actually. I put it on the spot, Richard.
Which was first SIP deployment?
Yeah.
It was 2004.
Yeah, 2004, there you go. So early adopters, those guys there. But yeah, great story those guys have got. And the tablets, 2010 again, Apple taking away. I'll put my hands up, I admit, I was one of those skeptics that said, who wants a tablet? What do I want a tablet for? I've got a big heavy laptop I can carry around with me everywhere. So absolutely, tablets are out there. And Avaya had an attempt to try and compete against the tablet. It's kind of sat out there on the bar area. Have a little look when you're out. It's not very pretty, it's not very good. It was very expensive and it was soon defocused by Avaya. So yeah, the tablet here to stay. And as Richard said, what we've noticed is not only is someone carrying around a tablet, they've got their smartphone, they've got their personal smartphone, they've got their laptop, they've got their desk phone, multiple devices that people want to connect to all the time. So that's kind of what we've seen over the last 10 years. Absolutely, this is where we see it going at the moment, cloud. Not many customers, I think you'd probably agree, gents, not many customers that we speak to and that we meet are at least not considering it in some form or another. Whether they will move there or not remains to be seen, but absolutely that's the conversations that we're having at the moment. I won't steal Richard's thunder, he's going to touch on that a bit more detail later on. But yeah, quick kind of update of what we've seen, and then moving on to the kind of the consumer, the employee, and the business changes that we've seen over the years. The population's growing all the time, everyone knows that. How many people commute into London every day? Quite a few. Most of these stats on here are around kind of London, we're here, it's kind of applicable. But about 1 million people come into London every day. I was on there this morning on the tube, faced up against the window. someone's armpit in my face. Not enjoyable. See train tickets increasing all the time as well. They're only going to go up as well. And the amount of people, the time people take to travel in as well. About an hour and a half is for me door to door. 2 hours for people taking it to travel. So that's what we're seeing from employees and the impact of those guys. Maybe the other side, got the impact on businesses as well. So Tower 42, where we are today, first opened in 1981. Critics said it would never be full. It's full, and it's been expanded 3 times as well now. If you look out the window, the amount of cranes that you see out there as well. The infrastructure is constantly increasing in London. It's constantly moving, constantly changing, constant demand for property and offices within London. But that office rent's increasing all the time. 13% that's going to go up by the next year. So that's one of the challenges we're seeing with businesses. A lot of customers we meet, they're across 3, 4, 5, 6 offices. They're consolidating all those offices down to one, maybe moving out of London a little bit to try and reduce cost. So travel, the amount of people travelling, time people are taking to travel is increasing. The amount of buildings and the cost to rent those buildings is increasing as well. But we also see an increase in working from home. Don't ask me when National Working From Home Day is, I have no idea, but there is one apparently.
Every day in Avaya.
Yeah, absolutely. This is increasing and is providing the technology to empower your staff to do that. A lot of organisations, you can't do that. You need to be physically in the building to do your job. But certainly in Avaya, this is something we've adopted very well. We've got the technology to do it. We're lucky. We've got 2 offices in Avaya. This one here, which is just a hub that we can drop in and out of. We've got a headquarters down in Guildford as well. Because so many people work from home now, we've rented out 2 of the floors of that building, so we're only occupying one now because everyone's got the ability to work from home.
That's something we see quite a lot, isn't it? Better utilisation of space. We see a lot of businesses London-based and say we can't afford to expand because this building isn't going to physically get bigger. I can't put more desks in because there's legal limits on the side. So I always joke and call it the beanbag working effect. You can get more beanbags in, you physically get desks. But the hot desk area, new ways of working, and with that come a whole host of challenges, which hopefully some of the technology will show you later on, show how they've developed to address that. I did take up by the time.
It's all right, please do. So then we need solutions to meet all of these requirements. For consumers that are trying to contact us, but also for our businesses as well. And these are kind of where we see the requirements to meet all of that. So back to the point, multiple devices these days. Tablets, iPhone, personal phone, laptops, everyone's got them, but we want to be able to connect to them all the time, and anywhere as well. It's not just in the office, we want to do it at home, we want to do it on holiday, we want to do it when we're at customer site, and we want it to be instant as well. We don't want to sit there with a buffering screen for 5-10 minutes waiting for something to load. It needs to be able to access it straight away. Scalable as well, so if we're organisation 100 users, we're going to increase up to 200 users over the next year. I need that same solution to be able to do that. I don't have to refresh and start all over again. And probably the last couple I think are probably the most important. It's got to be secure. There's no point having a solution in place if it's going to get hacked. Every 2 minutes, it's got to be easy to use. I've met a few organisations where they've spent large sums of money deploying the technology. Nobody's using it. Nobody knows how to use it. So you've got to make it easy to use and easy to manage as well. I think that's kind of where we come in and Britannic come in as well. We've got some good products, some good technology to meet all of those requirements for our customers. Quick whistle-stop tour there. Hopefully that kind of sets the scene of where we are today. What we're going to do is delve into IP Office in a bit more detail. So quick show of sound. Who was on IP Office already? So we've got a few.
About 50-50.
Yeah. So, IP Office. IP Office absolutely at the heart of our mid-market portfolio. Within Avaya, we kind of brand mid-market. It's kind of around sub 2,000 employees organisations, and that's where our IP Office sits in that area. Beyond kind of 2,000 users is the Aura platform. I think if you guys are on there now, that's what we kind of class as our enterprise platform. The mid-market, absolutely, IP Office is the way we're going. So IP Office at the heart, which now includes UC mobility functionality. When it kind of first came around, it was kind of very limited in what it could do. That's improving and increasing all the time. And what we've taken is the functionality from that Aura platform and then pushed it down into the IP Office platform as well. So it's far more feature-rich. We've got a whole bunch of other portfolio areas that sit around that. So we're going to try and show as much of this today as we can. So I'll give you a quick overview now on each of these, and then we'll delve into them a little bit more detail. Collaboration. So web collaboration, video collaboration, whatever it may be, integrates fully with IP Office, and we're going to touch on most of that later on today for you. Networking. Who in the room knows Avaya have a networking portfolio? 1, 2, 3. Okay. At least there's someone. Most of the time, I always ask that question. Most of the time, nobody knows. So it's good there's 3. Getting through to you guys slowly. So yeah, absolutely. Avaya have got a networking portfolio. It came from the Nortel days when we acquired Nortel. 2008 was it?
2009.
2009. Thank you. Whoops.
You work on TC5,
Yeah. So it came from Nortel. Full LAN and wireless portfolio. Whole conversation in itself. Integrates and works really well with IP Office. So if you've got IP Office, you've got an Avaya network, one single command line, run IP Office, and that runs out to all your phones and boots up all your phones and registers them for you. One single command line for you. So really good story we've got there. We've got our Fabric story, shortest path bridging as well. So
yeah, if you're interested in software-defined networking and moving to that way, Avaya really left the field. Our Fabric, lots of vendors are starting to go into Fabric now. Cisco have been doing it in the data center for ages. Only last month did they say they can do it in the enterprise level. We've been doing it now for over 5 years. We've got well over 500 referenceable customers with our Fabric technology. So it's a different subject than what we plan to talk about today, but feel free to grab us in a break or a lunch and tell you more.
Cool. Security. Again, we're going to touch on this later on, mainly around our session border controllers. James is going to go into that in a bit more detail later on. But also we've got our identity engines as well, which work and manage the networking side of things. So we'll kind of tailor them together. And then finally, contact center. Bit of a kind of a broad term. When people say contact center, we speak to customers around it. Instantly, people think of insurance companies or banks, rows and rows and rows of people with headsets on, trying to get cheaper car insurance, taking that sort of thing. But we meet many customers that use it in different ways. I had a customer a couple of weeks ago where they have members, their organisation, they have members, and when their members want to call in and pay for things or subscribe to things, that's all done through the contact centre technology. So there's many ways you can use the contact centre. Anyone got a contact centre in their organisation at the moment? There's four platforms within Avaya. 2 sit within IP Office, and 2 sit within our the enterprise portfolio. But what we've taken is the features and functionality of that enterprise portfolio, and we tried to scale it down to fit into IP Office, so you don't lose any of that functionality. You're not going to pay thousands and thousands of pounds for that contact centre. It's scaled down, but it now works cost effectively with IP Office. If I miss anything, guys, off of that?
No.
Cool. All right. So, IP Office. Did you know? Built-in audio conferencing. Again, many customers that I've met, they've got IP Office already. Yet sales team have gone out and bought WebEx. Marketing have gone out and bought GoToMeeting. Finance have gone out and bought BT Meet Me because it's cheap, whatever it may be. I was like, you do know you've got built-in audio conferencing with IP Office? No, So yeah, built-in audio conferencing, which integrates really well with the web collaboration as well. All included within IP Office. So not only the audio, you've got your web collaboration, so you can screen share, you can whiteboards, you can annotate, whatever it may be. All included within IP Office. A single number each, which is quite handy to have. Really simple, easy to use web-based management as well. And hopefully demo, can we demo?
Yeah.
Demo web-based management as well. Really simple and easy to use. IP Office goes up to 3,000 users now. It used to kind of be around 300. We're now up to 3,000. It's probably going to stay there. Don't we see it going any higher than that, do we guys?
Well, not for this year. It's staying at 3,000.
Yeah.
There is talk of it going up to probably about 5,000 total, to give you an idea.
It's 150 locations.
Yeah.
Good resiliency, call black, pay black, and a full suite of UC applications, which we're going to demo as well. It's kind of where IP Office is now, and what it can do. And deployment models. So IP Office came from Lucent, when we were called Lucent many years ago. Various kind of forms, it's evolved over the years. The first IP Office we had was IP Office 400 physical appliance, sat in your rack. That's again evolved over the years. We're up to the 500, now the 500 V2 is the latest physical appliance. And these are still being installed and being used today all over the place.
To give you an idea, we've sold over 70,000 IP Office units in the UK alone. So it's the most popular phone system in this country for organisations with more than 10 employees.
But the appliance only scales to about 384.
Works, yeah.
384 users, and kind of limited functionality as well. So that's when we shift up to the server edition. So server edition's been around a little while now. So physical server in your rack, whether that's the server you guys want to provide yourselves, assuming it meets the minimum spec requirements, or on a Avaya server, we can install IP Office on that as well. And we have a partnership with VMware now, where we can install IP Office on one of your existing VMware VM estates. And then finally, hosted cloud, which, like we said, is what a lot of people are talking about now. And James, I'll hand over to you to go touch on kind of the Avaya cloud platform in a bit more detail.
Yeah, so I think it's fair to say that Avaya have been in the cloud game a lot longer than most people, as consumers of Avaya technology, were probably aware. A lot of that has been in our very high-end government organisations, some of the banks and things like that, where we've just been dropping in pods of a private cloud solution to support tens of thousands of users. Where we haven't had a cloud proposition until last year was for organisations of that sub 2,000 user size. What we've done is taken proven software from IP Office that's grown up and evolved, and it's exactly the same software that you can have on premise, and we put that into the cloud. And what we do there is we deliver that in the UK via partner, so it's in the safe hands of somebody like Britannic's data centre. And then it's, from you guys' point of view, it's got that same simplicity of management if you want to have that access to do administration, but also if you want it as managed service, these guys can deliver it as managed service as well. Because the main difference from us and say that the common cloud platforms that are sort of BroadSoft sort of base solutions that are probably the most common and prevalent in the market is they're a big public tenanted cloud solution. The way that we are going to market is as a multi-instance installation. So it's much better if you've got PCI requirements or anything like that. It's much better if you've got bespoke applications that you want these guys to do something exciting around CTI integration, get better value for your business that way as well. But it also allows us to do a hybrid approach moving forward. So yeah, absolutely, let's get our IP Office, chuck it in the data center, have it as a cloud, have it as an OpEx model, nice simplified licensing structure as well. But what if I do want to protect myself from the fact that I happen to have a rainy day scenario and I can't get through to my data center? I can still have a trusty 500 gateway just locally at that site. if you like, that 500 gateway could be doing with your local traffic if you've got a lot of internal traffic, and that's not going to hit the data centre coming back up other than for signalling and for applications. What we call traffic will be held locally. So it's very, therefore, flexible to meet every sort of customer requirements and need. I can go into a little bit more detail slightly later on about the licensing model. So that's our cloud platform. It's been running beta all last year, very successful with about 5,000 extensions in London. It went GA to the rest of the market in February this year. So it's now sort of exponentially growing, albeit we're very selective on which business partners we allow to carry the Avaya cloud solution. So obviously, a safe pair of hands like Britannic is fine for us. A long way, can we use this? There we go. So this is me just trying to, it's very difficult with the IP office, as Cole correctly said, it's got a long history, it's sort of 15-year-old technology. That makes it sound terrible in technology terms, but we are on release 10 in July, so it's moved a major release every year as we've gone through that. Some of those releases are dot releases. But this is where we are now. So if you consume IP Office as a server edition or as a voice, as a virtualized platform or in the cloud, in that one instance, you've got a telephony platform, you've got a voicemail platform, you've got a presence platform, you've got a conferencing bridge platform, a web collaboration platform, all in that one single box and one single instance. There might be multiple servers and services when you're going to the management platform later on and show you who are in that box, but that gives you an idea of the power now of one server or one instance. If I first entered the industry about 10 years ago, if I was using this solution, you'd be like, okay sir, there's your PBX, there's your voicemail platform, there's your presence server, there's your collaboration server. You'd probably be talking about a very complex 6-box solution. Yeah, so it is nice and simple, all in one box. And they're the kind of features it's got in it. I'm going to show you some of those as we go through today. On resiliency, this is resiliency as it is today. As of July, that will change slightly. Obviously, if you've got a VMware HA stack, you can have resiliency through VMware HA as well. So you only therefore have to have one instance and it will reboot elsewhere. Obviously, you could have a primary, secondary VMware environment as well. Or if you are in a multi-continental setup, you could obviously have a primary server for your UK business, another one in your North America business, another one in Singapore, and you could share your licensing and your roaming and things like that across those sites. But obviously everyone would have their closest master and slave approach. So it's a very, very flexible platform. We can mix and match the sort of the traditional gateways, which are great because in my 7 years now of selling this product, I've had 5-10 user IP offices going to rock stars mansions all the way up to 14,000 users using it across over 400 sites in a major supermarket chain. So it's got that scalability and flexibility for it. Whether it's West London, it's that way. Yeah. Then there's very large media organisation that were originally a communication manager customer of ours. They first did their toe with IP Office about 3 years ago, went for a 30 user site just because they outgrew their space, needed an office just down the road, and the management team there liked the usability of the administration and the number of features that were just thrown into the box that weren't add-ons, that they were historically on our enterprise portfolio, that they've now ended up having 800 users of this in London, as well as another 150 in America and however many in Singapore and whatnot. So they've got about 1,500 suite of IP Office, but that's for 7 or 8 different nodes. And obviously, if you've got a small office, you can just have the small box that's very cost effective, but then they've actually now got a nice virtualized, very highly resilient estate in London. So that gives you an idea of what we have in terms of resiliency. Voice can grow across, your voicemail goes across, but also now your application server as of July will also go across, so your presence and all your other thin clients and things will go across there as well. Our licensing model is improving. It's been very complicated historically in the past, and the reason for that, I won't make apologies for it really, is because it's been a suitable product for an organisation for 5 users all the way up to now the 3,000 top end, is some people just want a basic license to make a conference phone work. Some people want to be like me and out and about and use your iPhone 1 minute, iPad the next minute, soft phone the next minute. I'm integrated into loads of different Microsoft applications. So therefore we sort of sit in this power user camp. So that we're trying to improve that, so it's easier for you guys to deploy, because it's very difficult for you to second guess what each of you users' personality traits are going to be like. And we're seeing now more and more that actually some organisations will have less fixed phones, they're for hot deskers only, but most people just live and die on their mobile device, their laptop device, or a mixture of two. So we can do that. In our cloud-based offering, it is literally a basic user. You still get a voicemail box. You still get things like basic twinning. You get the right to use a phone. You get all the other 400 basic telephony features that you get on an IP Office system. Or do you want absolutely every single application that the IP Office has got to throw at you? So it's either or. Until you start going to contact centre, then it's just a choice of am I an agent, am I a supervisor? So it's a very simple model to consume. I'm going to now do a very quick demo. Human's got his demo kit fixed just outside the room as well, so if you wanted to go deeper and see other elements of our applications, but here's a quick whistle-stop tour of all the applications. I'm going to show you some of these. So if you choose a power user profile, you get the ability to extend that twinning, which is a standard feature these days of IP Office. So by twinning I mean, here's my DDI, my mobile rings at the same time, pick it up on my mobile, walk back to my desk phone, pick it up, got all my PBX features on there. But if I want to control those on that basic standard twinning, it's a DTMF dial tone to do a 4-digit transfer and things like that. Obviously if I have the application, now I don't have to use the GSM mobile network at all. I just use the Wi-Fi network wherever I am. I even got that EE advert a couple of months ago. I was like, well, I've been standing on the underground using their free Wi-Fi, using that app, making calls all the time, because as a Londoner, 5 minutes wait for a tube, all of a sudden you start getting twiddling your thumbs. Longest 5 minutes, 5 minutes for you. We have a basic Windows-based soft phone, same soft phone but with a different graphical user interface for a tablet. We've got a browser-based solution which it's almost really been superseded now with the event of WebRTC, which I'll get into fairly shortly. If you guys are Skype for Business or Link users, okay, Microsoft are inherently hard to interoperate with. They don't do open standards in the same way that Avaya embrace. So we tag, even if you're the cloud or on-prem version of Microsoft, our telephony capability at the bottom. So now if you initiate a call on Link, it may go through your Avaya phone system, it goes through your Avaya connected gateway and trunks. We've got a voicemail, obviously says there, if we want to control another phone in the Avaya world, I can do it from here. But more importantly, when I'm in a call on my Avaya, it tells everybody else in the world of Microsoft that you're in a call. So if that's where you've gone for your presence in IM, that's fine. We can interoperate the Avaya side in with that. This is the Outlook plugin. I'm going to show you that in a second, so I don't need any more explanation there. Beyond that, on-premise, we've got a few add-on extras. And so apparently, if you can afford to have a MacBook, you can afford to buy a separate soft phone for it. If you get the Meet Me conferencing capability of the IP Office, which is just in the box, if you want to extend that to a web collaboration session, there's a small fee on top of that one off the CPE. These applications are just thrown in the cloud. So it's a slightly simpler pricing model on the cloud-based solution. Okay. So without further ado, actually, I'm going to try and show you some of those applications. Before I do, I'm just going to go back to that WebRTC conversation. So anyone that's, some of you might be sitting here thinking I've got IP Office and I haven't heard of some of these features before. Obviously, every year some of these leak into the portfolio. So depending on what software level you're on, depends whether or not they're available to you straight away. This is the very newest application that came to us in about November-ish time last year. We acquired a company called Esna, and within a few weeks we had a product to market called Avaya Web Communicator. And what that allows us to do is for browsers that support WebRTC. So when this first came out, that was Chrome. Today I believe Firefox definitely do as well, and pretty much all the other browsers have a roadmap to adopt WebRTC within them. We can also do in Internet Explorer as well using HTML5, but that won't allow voice and video path today. Okay. So what this application allows businesses to do is if you have moved to the cloud, not necessarily for your voice, but for your business applications, i.e. your sales team live in salesforce.com, or you've now decided to say, get rid of my Exchange server and I do everything on Office 365, or I've adopted Google Apps. On the Google side, I don't think there's any other vendor that's got as tight integration to Google Apps as we do. Then I live and die inside a browser. Now all of my Avaya IP Office telephony is in that browser with me. It's really good in terms of portability. I can go to my home PC, open up Chrome, take my Chrome profile with me, and my phone's there. And my features there as well. So I'll show you very briefly what that client looks like. It's more powerful if I was driving it inside one of these cloud apps. I couldn't find a page in Salesforce that wasn't contentious for me to to put on the demo, so I'll do it in a basic Google browser page. Okay, but it's just another option of consuming your Avaya telephony in the platform. So let me just switch. Sorry, can you take yourself off screen link, because that overrides the. Screen link, I should say, actually, is so we've got an Avaya video unit in here, and a bit like if you use Apple TV or Android TV at home, it just wirelessly pushes the presentation across.
Anyone embracing WebRTC at the moment? Anyone heard of it before?
Whip you there.
It's very interesting technology, which for me, from a client engagement perspective as well, it opens up a whole new communication channel for your clients to be contacting you as well, which we can explore in more detail. So it's sort of the next big communication sort of arena that's starting to open up.
Yeah, so if I just elaborate on that slightly while I'm playing around with my PC. WebRTC's allowed us in the contact centre world to do some really cool stuff. So if somebody now calls into your contact centre and they've got their smartphone, using WebRTC we can actually send them an SMS, and then with that SMS they accept their terms and conditions, and from that they can utilise WebRTC for a browser to actually start them uploading documents to you, or you pushing documents back out to them, or switching to video straight away as well. We could then potentially get access to the geolocation of that handset, all for just using web. They've got no software on our device. So we think about how cool it looked when the Fire device from Amazon came out, their proprietary tablet. If you click the help button on there, you had a video link straight away with the guy in Amazon sitting at the desk. Well, that's fine if you own the proprietary hardware, but now we can say, well, anyone with a smartphone or a PC for a browser, obviously, or a tablet, you click a link and you can get that kind of interaction within your contact centre. Okay, there's a lot of different things that that we've shown that to customers, and they've straight away gone, oh, I found a different use for that we haven't even thought of yet. Danger of doing a live demo. It's good promotions coming out in Q3, guys. So this is the Outlook plugin. Very briefly, just to show you, this is me controlling all my telephony from my IP Office platform inside Outlook. It has embedded into it, obviously, Avaya presence and IM, and it can also look up my Outlook presence as well. I've got that disabled because it's really inaccurate, because my Outlook says I'm busy the whole time, instead of, because I'll just fill it for notes and things like that as well. Very quick whistle-top tour of this. So my chat conversations would be here. My voicemails are here. I have spoken to Philip since June. My call logs are here, and then if I'm in a conference call, our conference call control is here. Some of the quick, nice little features of this device is, once you've got it downloaded on your machine, I click to upload my contact, and every single person who's ever given me a contact, I've now got to click to dial, and if they phone me up, their name obviously appears on my screen as well. So you can start either screening your calls or greeting your customers and your colleagues appropriately. Obviously, if people are on the platform, I've got their presence and availability to speak to them. What I'll do very quickly on here, rather than switching to lots of different devices, I have, without telling you, I've got your extension on my iPad. So I'm just going to click that into there. But I've actually got my extension on my mobile phone as well at the moment. So let me just call myself on here. Calls come straight away through here. Answered on here through 4G. That one's on Wi-Fi. Let me just mute because
You've got my
using that.
extension loaded up on there, actually.
Yeah, sorry, that's you. The Avaya webcam.
If you do any prank calls, I will say during this time it was a bit.
There you go. That's Cole. So that there's the soft phone option there. So obviously on one screen, so quite difficult otherwise to emulate lots of different things. But you can see straight away that I'm on the phone. You know what you want to do with that information. I suppose is up to you. But in this instance, you've decided to ignore it and just call me anyway. Which I'm waiting for it to come through on. This is where I've got. It's gone straight to voicemail. That's the thing with demos, isn't it? Let me do that the other way then. Where actually you.
So it's worth noting the Outlook plugin, you do need a physical phone for that too as well. It's not a soft phone. You need to, or you need to integrate with your soft phone or a physical phone.
Web RCC. I knew I was logged into far too many clients at one time. This was just to quickly show you that if you are using the Meet Me conference capability that's built into the IP Office and you're using any of our applications, you've obviously got the conference control. Now I've done an ad hoc conference, but obviously I could have said, phone me at this time, here's my PIN code, here's my security, customise how I want that bridge set up in terms of verbal announcements of people turning up or whatnot. But then you've got that capability of Cole having too much background noise because he's on the train, so maybe I want to mute him. Maybe humans on a mobile phone and he's disconnected. And straight away I've got a visualisation. Now, on a 3-person call, that's quite quick to sort out. When you're on them 10-person conference calls or whatnot, it can be quite frustrating and not know where you are and who's making the background noise and whatnot. So it's just a quick tool to show you the conferencing capability and what that looks like in one of our applications. If I wish, I could record that call straight to my voicemail box as a standard feature as well. So it's obviously some of the advantages of having the call control within the application. You know, you might not have that programmed up as a button. I have it on the mobile, but it just gives you a few more options and flexibility than if it was just a normal mobile call. The other thing I could obviously do on here is I could have my own dialing rules. So say I was profiles even. So say I was working from home, I just click that tab, and now my home phone, the good old analogue line at home, rings. I could go and work from Britannic's office from the day and say, give me a DDI. I take that DDI and then controlling it through any of the Avaya applications, it's the Avaya extension that's seen to everybody. It's my presence is true across Avaya as well. So it's very flexible in terms of homework and business continuity from them elements. And then if I wish, I can escalate that into a web conference as well. Obviously, I could send that out as a URL and schedule that web conference to the wider world. So if you guys join me on an Avaya IP Office web conference, you click the link, you're in there, and if you download the software, you can also present back to me. So it's obviously not locked down. Aesthetically, what that web conference looks like is, there we go. Looks like that. So it's got the same look and feel as the soft phone. My audio can go through here as well. And if there was other people other than myself into that conference at that time, obviously I've got the call control in there. If I've presented and I've muted everybody, there's still group messaging and sort of polling and things like that you can do on here. And obviously if I want to share, I can share documents uploaded, my entire screen, portion of the screen, and whatnot, whiteboard from there. And then I can hand over to anybody else in that conference to take on the conference from that stage, if they're part of the switch or not.
And the great thing I find around the Avaya technology is it's not tied into a specific operating system. So if your clients are Apple, Android, whatever it may be, you can extend that capability without actually opening up ports on your firewall and giving them access. It's that ease of use which speeds up the adoption of using the technology. The moment you make it too complex, that's why, to come back to the point that was made earlier, a lot of these functionalities are in the system but not used, is because it becomes too difficult. IT have to provision, IT have to support. This way, you'll see how simple it is to use most of these functions.
So anyone that's an existing IP Office customer, we still have the old-fashioned thick client manager, which is the simplest management tool I've used in 4 or 5 different phone systems that I've sold in my career. But we now also have this web manager, which is much more suited to the cloud deployment and server deployment. You could have multiple people logged in at different priority levels, making changes in real time at the same time. Permissions accepting. So I'm not going to go through in detail lots of different functions inside the manager. This is only a very small lab system that we're working here. Thankfully, the voicemail's up, the present server's up, the call recording solution's up, the WebRTC gateway can be seen, and all the licensing is live as well, which is good. It's running the new release of software that's not quite GA yet. If I do want to do anything new on a user, nice and simple, let's pick human, so it doesn't matter if I make it go wrong. Very simple if I want to make any adds, moves and changes to human's profile. He's forgotten his password, he's forgotten his game, he's allowed to be a receptionist. If I send him a mobility email, this is a nice neat feature. Human's lost his mobile phone again. I click the send mobility email app. He gets an email, he clicks on it. If he hasn't already downloaded the app, it'll take him to the appropriate store to download the app, which obviously the app side is free. And then once he clicks on it again on Apple, it will populate it with all these right server details. You only have to click on it once in Google, because the nerds at Android do things a little bit smarter than the guys at Apple. This device is not quite as cool in my opinion. So then you just click it and you guys are away. Okay. So there's a good production company actually that just loved that, because they had loads of different customers, people working on productions who weren't employees, just said, right, you're working with us for 3 months, what's your device, no problem, send you an email, you're now part of our world. Okay. There's lots of different features I can offer within here. So they were the basic user. Quickly on voicemail, I can then say, if human's voicemail and somebody press 0, I can say that now shoots off to Alan. If he says press 2, I can say, maybe that needs to go to Philippe. Obviously that could be a sales group, go to a back office, go to the rest of the group of the IT team or whatnot. And that could be personalised all the way down. So we've got a system set up outside. We can go into a lot more detail. Most people I've met have not come across a interface as simple as that for
or as quick.
Yeah, absolutely, it was good. This is a user level self-admin, so you can give your users less reason to bother you as IT managers. Okay, so this can be locked down, by the way, so you might say, I trust this user, he's a bit tech savvy, he can do this. This is kind of idiot proof, but we appreciate you've got a wide user community to support. Or you can just say they can have certain elements of this. So for example, on here I can change my telephony password. Here I can change the way my voicemail works. So at the moment, if I get a voicemail, it goes to email, but I get it as an alert. It just says one line, you got a call from this person at this time, and I can choose to either listen to it via the app, call them straight back, call into the voicemail, receive it, wait until next time next to a phone, or what have you. I could obviously have that copied into my inbox as well. Do not disturb, mobility, change my twinning, change call forwarding, change my personal directory on my system, upload from there if I wish, change the way I program my phone. I don't have a physical phone on this lab system. Or I can also download software from here as well, if I wish. So that's a quick tour of the admin side of things. I was going to quickly show you the mobile. Let me quickly show you the web communicator before I change off my PC. So this is switch to Google Chrome quickly. Just inside there, I've got a little tab that shows me that my web communicator is connected. I can see the availability of the people on that system that I'm following. I've got it running in soft phone mode at the moment. It's reconnecting because I'm connected through 3 other devices, which is possibly confused it slightly. But if I was inside, or I see now any telephone number on the web or anything like that, I can just click it, call it, be part of that. If I'm in salesforce.com and I get a call from a record, it will say that person called in, logs it as a call and an activity in salesforce.com for you. If you're in Google Apps and you're in your or Office 365, in the contact card, it will show you those other users, their presence and their availability, and you can instant message them from there as well. So you've got all your IM and call, and also point-to-point video capability just inside that little client. So you don't even have to worry about people having the appropriate soft phone anymore. You have to have it compatible and available, downloaded, configured. It's just in their browser, it's just in their profile.
And we're typically seeing organisations opting out for buying expensive laptops and going for Chromebooks because they're so cheap and they're so quick to dispatch. Has the phone there, traditionally when you're provisioning a new user for a handset, it might take you 4 weeks to get them up and running. You just literally order them their next day delivery and your handset extension and everything is preloaded. Really cost effective way of doing it.
So to send that mobility email, this is what the application looks like on an iOS device. It looks a lot better on that screen because I dropped my phone only this week. So,
again?
Yeah, third time in a year. I think you'd get a case, wouldn't you? It just doesn't learn. The front screen of that will tell me if I've got a live instant message conversation going on, if I've got any voicemails there to listen to, or I can jump straight into my conference bridge. Really handy feature for me. I quite often end up forgetting to join my own hosted conference call, so an alert jumps up straight away on my screen, even if I'm not in the app. Click on it and then I go straight into the conference call. And in the same way as I did in the Outlook plugin, I can control the conference call from there. I can see who's joined, who's in, who's out, and whatnot. I've got my contacts, so these are a few people that I speak to very regularly, so I've followed them for their presence. If you've got a couple hundred people or 11,000 people in your organisation like we have, you wouldn't want to track everybody's presence. That would drain your battery a little bit and also be quite hard to search from. Obviously, they're not the only 5 or 6 people that I speak to in my life, so I do sometimes go back and go into my own iPhone contacts and whatnot and call people from there as well. Okay. Obviously, instant messages is part of that. Events will show me voicemails and missed calls. And as I said, I've got conference capabilities. If I click the little telephone button, it shows at the moment I'm pushing all my voice over to 4G. If I change that, I can say, actually, I don't think the voice quality, even though it says 4G and it's 4 bars, is strong enough for the quality of this call. I can just switch that back to mobile mode. And if I'm in an active call, it conferences me in and transfers across the two. Okay. Or again, I could just control my home phone or set a custom number and drive that from here. So all the calls are still getting recorded if it's PCI related, or I've still got the telephony features, and everybody sees my presence even though I could be a completely random telephone number anywhere in the world. So we can show you this kind of stuff in a lot more detail in the breakout area. That's sort of a whistle-stop tour on there. Got a couple more slides to finish up before we have a
do you want to show
break.
the tablet though? Can you throw the tablet up there?
I can throw the tablet up there very quickly.
Put you on the spot now.
Yeah,
See if it
no
works.
problem.
It's just
Just
quite
takes a
cool
second,
little, the way it kind of works, it's quite good.
So as you were talking before, and this in the Avaya desktop video device, the ADVD that's not turned on but sitting on the bar over there, that came to market the same month as iPad 1. Okay, the iPad 1 didn't have a forward-facing camera, so it was better in the day. Had a HD camera on it as well. It's really, but it was a $4,000 device, and the software that we developed on that $4,000 device is basically a predecessor to this. So now this software just comes in with your UC licensing on IP Office, as well as on Aura. The concept here, I mean, these are the last calls I've had, but I can pick James using his fingers. There we go. Drop him in a light. I can then decide whether I call him, point-to-point video him, send him an instant message, or email him if I wish. If I want to therefore have a second call come through and set up a conference call and not have a line 2 on here, it can also show that if I've got any voicemails live at the moment, and I've got real-time presence and instant messaging statistics as well. So that's a sort of a quick one on Flare. I think you've got it set up next door as well. Or sorry, it used to be called Flare, Avaya Communicator. We're this week. You're going to screen link, or you're going to plug in old school? Should we turn to the first group?
Avaya.
There you go. That one's come out there. Oh no, it doesn't. Yeah, and that's why screen link's a good idea, because I watch you bend the pins all the time, and that's why I've gone to people's offices on that. So I just wanted to talk about how, we've got 3 or 4 more slides, before we have a little comfort break, and then talk about contact centre and video later. So the other thing we've done recently is a bit more AD integration on the management side. So if you want to set up a user in AD and pull that automatically into IP Office, that's starting to become a feature now as well. Talked about self-administration. Now this is a key one for me. Not inside the phone system today as such. It can be fully virtualized, or it can be a separate appliance. Who here uses SIP trunks today? Okay, so actually not as many as I thought would say so. Has everyone heard of a session border controller as a piece of technology previously? So nice to you nodding on that one. A session border controller originally come to market because those SIPs meant to be an open standard. SIP from party A versus SIP from party B wasn't necessarily a perfect match. So the SBCs, in my mind, first came about to do the handshake to make sure the SIP worked nicely on the system. IP Office deals with SIP natively into it really, really well actually. I've not come across a SIP trunk provider that won't go natively into an IP Office. So then the real reason after that is for security. Okay, so unfortunately there's a lot of unscrupulous people out there. Yeah, if you're going to put your phone system instead of on ISDN onto the whole wide web to get your trunks coming through, then anyone can start spoofing IP addresses, do denial of service attack, toll fraud, these kind of things. So it will mitigate as much as it can against those kind of issues. But the real reason you'd go for an Avaya session border controller over any other manufacturers on one of our solutions is there's new ways of working. If I am in the London Underground, or I just walk in at home and I'm on my BT broadband or whatnot, I just fire up the app on my phone or my iPad or my laptop, and I don't have to worry about any VPNs or anything like that, because it knows that that application and myself as a user is safe to get directly connected to my IP Office, and I can make a call. And without that, I'll just pick up my mobile phone and I'd use it as a normal phone, and then pick it up. I wouldn't have any traceability at all of my calls. No one would know what my present status is of those calls. If I was using a sort of home phone or whatnot, then I'd start showing people my number. You'll see in my signature, you only get my DDI number, but I've always got the potential of answering you on my mobile. It allows me to control when I'm working and when I'm not working, as opposed to Richard also having my mobile. So I mean, that's the key thing. We can have physical hard phones securely connected from here as well. It's a perfectly reasonable thing to do. I work at least 1 day a week at home, so I love having my physical and via hard phone. Unfortunately, they do cost a few £100, so there is a cost associated to that. So if you're happy to be a headset worker or use a mobile phone instead, then yeah, this is the way that we can do it. For simplicity for users to adopt the technology. It has to be easy, it has to be secure. Okay. So some of you will be on legacy platforms, whether that's an IP Office platform that's a lower software level, it might be another Avaya product. A lot of customers were on the Nortel technology pre our acquisition of that 4 years ago. We have lots of different programs and ways that if you are Avaya, to keep you Avaya. This sort of average saving here, and it can be even more than this, is if you were going to replace your current telephony with another manufacturer, it would be 60% more expensive than stay on the Avaya journey. That's because you might have a communication manager, and we take your license and we say, okay, we give you a discount for that license to move onto a new platform, and depending what your support level is with us on the system, that will vary, but the minimum of that is 60% off list. It may be that you're on premise today and you now want to adopt and move to cloud. That's great, all the phones are still going to work with that. Some of your hardware might work as a local gateway with that, but as you start moving into a cloud-based solution, then we could give you a loyalty license cost per month, so we don't treat you as new customer only kind of thing. In fact, it's almost opposite. If our existing customers get the best deals, new customers sort of have to pay a higher whack, which is how it should be, I suppose. So there's a great migration story from there. Sometimes you're going to reutilise hardware, sometimes it's reutilising the software, other times it is commercially dealt with. IP office support services, this is more for the guys that are going to be on-premise kit, yeah, so if you customer premise equipment. Historically, you'd buy a phone system, you chuck it in your rack, you work it, 10 years later you go, great, didn't break, calls kept going backwards and forwards, everything's fantastic. Today, if we are integrating into Microsoft, Google, an Android, an Apple device or whatnot, their software's changing all the time. You need, at the very minimum, to keep up to speed with that, otherwise you're going to lose feature capability. But obviously, it's worth always being on the latest software level, so we can support you better, and Britannic can support you better, but also you get all the new and latest features. So what we do with the IP office support services today is we take each box. So if you've got a resiliency of 2 boxes, you pay for it twice. If you've got 1 box, you pay for it once. If you've got 150 nodes, which is the maximum capacity of IP Office today, you pay for it 150 times. But there's a flat fee depending on the service level you want, and it's probably the most cost-effective, or I would say, of the major vendors, it is the most cost-effective support service contract. So that gives these guys direct access to our Tier 3, Tier 4 engineers, all the software patches, all the upgrades then for you. And it helps you to sort of obviously keep current, up to date and predictable total cost of ownership of your solution. And done the demo. I'm just going to walk through a very quick deployment example of a real life customer I've worked with. And this is kind of where we see a lot of people come to us. This is based on a real life environment, but it's probably should resonate with a few of you. We find that your technology might be out of support. This person was a non-Avaya customer before, that the manufacturer had actually stopped making that solution, but they could still get licenses. But if I move forward, this is kind of where they were when they met me. They had a few more sites than this. But I said, well, if you've got 6 sites, and you've got 6 phone systems, and you've got 6 connections to the outside world on the ISDN, you've got 6 things to manage. You've got an overcapacity of ISDN trunks. You've also got a lot of movement of your staff in terms of your sales office. How does that work? Oh great, everyone just uses their mobile phone. Well, that's great, they're sales guys. So if they're all on a mobile phone, how are you ensuring the customer service that if you're phoning that person, they're getting through, they're getting answered? And also what happens when that person leaves? Because it's very easy for somebody nowadays to take their telephone number with them. You know, there's actually legal precedent that you ask your business to take your mobile number with you, they can. Okay, it's their right to earn a living, which is a bit dubious if they go and work for the competition. Okay, so the customer came in, he's very specific to me, saying, that is what I want. I just want a solution that kind of does that. I know where I am with on-premise kit, and I could manage that all as one big collective, that's fine. IP Office does that beautifully, has done for over 10 years. But what we ended up looking to do as a solution is, hang on, you've got a data center, we put a virtualized version of IP Office up here. We have another resilient one in a small data center in your head office. So then you've got resiliency, but you've got the power of a resiliency of being in a data center. We moved to SIP trunking. So obviously he kept all his geographic numbers, which are obviously key, and pulled those in. Also had the flexibility of SIP will be on a burst as he grows and whatnot, and resiliency in the SIP cloud as well. But obviously then he had cost savings because all of a sudden he didn't have overcapacity at 6 different sites. SIP trunk rationalisation there, so it's worth looking at that. He had resiliency in the solution, and then throughout his WAN he could just deploy users, and then people stopped being on disparate mobile phones. They could do BYOD technology, had twinning, better customer service. If somebody didn't pick up their mobile phone that rang on a twinning, it went back into the office and got dealt by an internal sales support person. Okay, they stopped losing business, they start giving better customer service, it started actually impacting their business. This solution, because it meant they weren't buying more hardware and they weren't buying 4 or 5 maintenance contracts, meant they actually had enough money left over to go through our video solution. So this organisation was actually a recruitment company, and by adopting our video, which has some commercial benefits of plugging it onto IP Office as well as some compatibility benefits, is as a recruitment business, not only were they now running their team meetings across the UK on video more often, so there's lots of saving costs there. But they could now start recording locally to these devices. So on the higher end recruitments they were doing, they were starting to record video interviews instead of doing the old-fashioned telephone interviews. They could then send that video clip to their prospective clients, and it reduced the amount of people they wanted to meet, and it sped up the speed of those recruitments happening. So all of a sudden they were differentiating themselves in the market because they were doing something their competitors weren't doing. They were reducing their time to market because the whole process went a lot quicker. There was less meetings, less interviews, and a lot less time wasted. And it has really helped them to save costs as well. Okay. So they're the impacts of change. The key thing for me here was it was one of those true solutions that I think we reached about 8 months when we looked at it, that through the cost savings of what they were spending today versus adopting the new technology, it was actually a cost neutral conversation to have. And that's before we started looking at the softer benefits of your staff started improving productivity, because all of a sudden for the first time across those 5 sites they had presence, they had instant messaging, they could start communicating to each other a little bit smarter and a little bit wiser. Okay, so I just wanted to drop in, we talk a lot about the technology today, but you know how that's been applied in one particular instance. Well, obviously we work with a hell of a lot of companies across between Human and Carl and myself across the whole of the London area. Yeah, I'm sure we've met somebody in exactly the same vertical as you, and we can share some of their successes and what they found. I appreciate every business, regardless of being in the same vertical, has different cultural challenges, and that seems to be the biggest thing about user adoption of UC technology. We can give people all the tools, it's which ones choose to pick up which elements. But that's why we've got a big plethora of choice of different devices, different ways to consume UC. You always get that one user in your organisation that says, I don't want to be hassled all the time, I am to things like that, and they're the ones that will turn it off. We haven't worked out a way of getting that presence technology in their head yet, but we do some nifty demos on Google Glass back in Guildford. Okay. So I think at that we're at a coffee break.